See, this is development environment, this is testing environment, also called as QA environment. Okay.
Okay.
So what happens here is an application is developed in the development environment. Now what will happen is there will be something called as what? The particular hardware and software configuration. Okay. So see here. So in the dev environment, what will happen is, suppose there's a dev environment. So there will be something hard disk, suppose hardware. So if I take hardware configuration, so in hardware configuration, what are the things in hardware configuration? There will be hard disk. Okay. Suppose the hard disk is nothing but 500 GB. Okay.
Okay.
RAM is suppose 4 GB. Okay. Processor is single processor i5. Yeah. And whatever the OS is there, OS is suppose Windows 10, and browser they are using is Chrome 42.0. This is a development environment. All the developers are working in this particular environment. Okay.
Okay.
Next will be, it will go to what? It will go to the testing environment. This will be used by whom? By the test engineers. Yes. So this environment will be used by the test engineers. So what they will do is, this is called as testing environment, also called as what? QA environment. Okay. So they will have their own hardware configuration.
Okay.
So they will have their own hard disk. Suppose hard disk is again 500 GB. Now RAM is 8 GB. Processor is suppose i7. OS and browser is same. Suppose Windows 10 and browser is Chrome 42.0. And they are doing what? Functional testing and integration testing here in testing environment or QA environment. Okay.
Okay.
So it is a particular URL. Okay. Environment means what? This is the particular URL will be given. Suppose for QA environment, I am testing suppose an application. So there will be a particular environment HTTP. Suppose the project name is ICICI. So ICICI. Okay.
Okay.
And then the company name is suppose Wipro. So Wipro.com. Okay. This is a particular testing environment. Which I am testing means this is the particular URL I am using. Okay. Dev environment means what? HTTP. And sometimes they specify the particular environment by this writing. Suppose dev, and here ICICI, ICICI, and then they will write what? Wipro.com. Here also they can mention what the particular environment, suppose QA, and then this is the testing environment. Now this is fine. Now next will come is what?
Staging.
Pre-production or staging environment. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. So fine, guys. So this is what? This is space is less, guys. So it is coming like that, but it will be in one line to explain. Okay. So this is the dev environment. Okay. This is the testing environment, and this is what, guys, is the QA pre-production or staging environment. Okay, fine. So staging environment, also called as what? Pre-production environment. Okay. So here what will happen is, if the configuration is made, software to the production environment. Now you have to understand what is production environment. Production environment is used by whom? I told you, who is using the production environment? Can you just tell me?
User, client.
Yeah, and no, client, the end user. Suppose this is the here I am drawing production environment. Okay, suppose this is the production environment. Okay, so now production environment is used by the end users. Okay, so this is production environment. So here, how many users will use? So many users, right? So here the hard disk will be suppose 200 terabyte. Facebook, how many users are using? So many users, right? Suppose Wipro has its own ICIC website. How many people are using ICIC website? So hundreds. So many people. So hard disk is suppose 200 terabyte. RAM is suppose 80 terabyte. Okay. Processor is what? Multiple processor. Okay. And software is same. OS is Windows 10, and browser is suppose Chrome 42.0. So what happened, guys? This pre-production or staging environment, what we'll do, we'll make an environment which is similar to production environment. So what we will do is, we will make the environment similar to production environment is, we'll make it what? Suppose production environment is 200 terabyte. So we'll make the hard disk as 150 terabyte. RAM is suppose 80 terabyte. So here we'll take RAM as 80 terabyte. Processor as multiple processor, and these are the software configuration and all. Yeah. So what happened, guys? What I was telling is functional integration testing we did in QA environment, and end-to-end system testing we did in what? Staging or pre-production environment. Because you don't know if I test in this particular environment and it is directly going into production environment with this configuration, the application might blast, or the application might not perform equally good as it was performing in the QA environment. So we make a staging environment, also called as what? Pre-production environment, where we do generally perform system testing. End to end we will test here. Functional integration we test here. In many companies, there is no separate testing environment. Suppose here the URL will be what? HTTP, then staging, then ICICI, then Wipro.com. So guys, this might not be in many companies separate testing and separate staging environment. There will be only one environment. That is nothing but your staging environment, where we'll do functional integration and system. So that is also there in many companies. So now, what did you understood from there? So if any issues come in the production environment, what will happen? What will happen? First, it will go to the development environment, where developer will fix it. Again, it will come to testing environment, where we will do the functional integration testing. Then it will go to system staging environment, where we'll do the system testing, and then it will be loaded into what? Production environment. Many companies, testing and staging environment is only one. So after dev environment, directly to staging environment, and then production environment. Am I clear? Staging environment, testing environment, dev environment, and production environment. Yes or no?
Yes.
Fine, guys. So let us just. I have to finish the syllabus also. So let us just go to our next topic. I just want to take a good topic with you people. That is nothing but your software test life cycle. Okay. So software testing life cycle, we will understand. This is the notes. So let me just open the diagram. Yeah, software test life cycle. Okay. This is also called as what, guys? STLC. Okay. Yeah, so software test lifecycle, also called as STLC. Okay, so STLC is, guys, a very important topic, because sometimes the question is asked, what is the testing process in your organization, or what is the testing process used in your company? So what is STLC? software testing lifecycle or STLC. What is that? You have to understand one thing, guys, that is software testing lifecycle or software test lifecycle is a step-by-step procedure to test an application. So to understand software test lifecycle, we have to know the individual thing. First is that system study. System study means what? Whenever we get the requirement, we need to understand the requirement, review the requirement. After understanding the requirement, reviewing the requirement, we prepare a document called as what? Test plan. And this test plan is prepared by the test lead or the test manager. And after the test lead or the test manager prepare the test plan. Now, test plan is a detailed document, guys. It is prepared by test lead or test manager. It is a dynamic document that derives the entire testing activities. And every test engineer needs to follow the test plan for his further testing activities. So after this test plan, guys, every test engineer will follow this test plan. And then what will happen as a test engineer, whenever we get the requirement, what we will do is we'll understand the requirement, review the requirement, and based on our understanding, we'll prepare a document called as what? Test scenario. So first what happened? Requirement was given. After understanding, reviewing what happened, the test lead or manager prepared the test plan. And then as a test engineer, when we got the requirement, we understood the requirement, reviewed the requirement, and based on our understanding, we prepared a document called as test scenario. Now, test scenario is a high-level document which consists of all the possible ways of testing an application. After test scenario is prepared, then we prepare an in-detail document called as test case. Now, test case is an in-detail document which consists of all the possible ways of testing an application. It consists of all the possible ways of testing an application. It consists of inputs and navigation steps. Once test case is prepared, it will be sent to whom? To the reviewer. Reviewer is another test engineer. He will review the test case for the correctness of the test case. And after the review of the test case, if he wants, he can provide some review comments. These review comments are given in a separate sheet or format called as test case review template or format. And after this test case review template or format, if the author means the person who has written the test case, feels that the review comments are genuine, then he can fix those particular review comments. That means he can correct the test cases wherever the review comments are genuine according to the author. And if he feels that the review comments are not genuine, he will write that comments in the review comments in the review template that these comments are not appropriate, and he can give his own comments. After both this author and reviewer accepts for the correctness of the test cases, in this loop, the test lead will be included. He goes and approves these test cases. And once the test cases are reviewed and approved, it will be stored in a centralized repository called as test case repository. It will be stored in a centralized repository called as what? Called as test case repository. Let me just write down test case repository. Okay. So once the test case is reviewed and approved, it will be stored in test case repository. Test case. Oh, yeah, test case repository. Okay, test case I've written. That means test case repository. Okay. After the test case is stored in test case repository, what will happen is the particular before doing the test execution, we'll prepare a document called as traceability matrix or requirement traceability matrix. Now, this requirement traceability matrix is a document prepared so that every requirements are covered in the form of test cases, or every requirement and test cases are mapped against each other, or we will not miss out testing any requirement. Once test cases are written, RTM is prepared and application is developed and installed on the testing server. We'll start doing the test execution. What is test execution is? Test execution is testing the application by seeing the test cases. This is the actual testing. Here we perform all the kind of testing like functional integration system. During test execution, we may encounter some bugs. The bug should be fixed by the developer. Okay. And the bugs are logged using bug tracking tools like Bugzilla, Zira, Mantis, Bugnet, Quality Center, or manual bug report. And this testing continues until the application becomes stable or bug free. In the end, we prepare a document called as test execution report document, which shows the stableness of the test case based on the number of test cases written, executed, passed, failed, pass percentage, and fail percentage. In the end, we have a meeting called as retrospect meeting, or project closure meeting, or post-mortem meeting, where we discuss what is right, what is wrong, and followed by any improvement if required. This is software testing life cycle. Any testing process in any organization will follow this thing only. ETL, manual, everywhere you have to tell this particular testing process. So it's a very, very simple testing process. Nothing, we get the requirement. The manager or lead will prepare a document called as test plan. Let us see the notes of software testing lifecycle so it becomes more clear. So here I have written STLC, software testing lifecycle. It is a step-by-step procedure to test an application. As soon as we get the requirement, the manager or lead, or a manager or even the test lead, okay, manager or test lead will prepare a document called as test plan. Test plan is a dynamic document that derives entire testing activities. Every test engineer needs to follow the test plan for the further testing activities. As a test engineer, whenever we get the requirement, we understand the requirement, review the requirement, and based on our understanding, we'll prepare a document called as test scenario. Test scenario, it is a high-level document which consists of all the possible ways of testing an application. Once test scenarios are prepared, we prepare a document called as what? Test cases. Now, test case is an in-detail step-by-step procedure to test an application which consists of all the possible inputs and navigation steps. Once test cases are prepared, then the test engineer will send the test case for the review process, also called as test case review process. In test case review process, first is the author, the test engineer who has written the test case, the reviewer, the another test engineer who has reviewed the test case for its correctness. Process, once the test cases are written, it is sent to the reviewer for the review process. The reviewer puts the necessary review comments in a separate sheet or format called as test case review template or format. The author will do the necessary correction as per the review comments and send it back to the reviewer. And this process will continue until both author and reviewer accepts for the correctness of the test case. Once the test cases are written and reviewed, in this loop, the process will continue until both author and reviewer accepts for the correctness of the test case. And here you have to write in this loop, the test lead is included. Okay. Once the test cases are written and reviewed, the test lead will go and approve those test cases and store it in a centralized repository called as test case repository. Once the test cases are written, reviewed, and approved before doing test execution, we prepare a document called as RTM. Now, what is RTM? It is a document prepared so that all the requirements are covered in the form of test cases, or all the requirement and test cases are mapped against each other. Once test cases are prepared, RTM is prepared, and the application is developed and installed in the testing server. The test engineer will start doing the test execution. Test execution is testing the application by seeing the test cases. Test execution is the actual testing. During the test execution, we will perform all the kind of testing like functional testing, integration testing, and system testing, etc. During test execution, we may encounter some bugs. The bugs should be logged by the test engineers. These bugs should be logged by the test engineers and fixed by the developers. The bugs are logged using bug report or bug tracking tool like Bugzilla, Zira, Mantis, and Quality Center, etc. The testing continues until all the test cases are executed and application becomes stable or bug-free. In the end, we'll prepare a document called as test execution report document. Test execution report document tells the stableness of the application based on the number of test cases written, executed, passed, failed, pass percentage, and fail percentage. In the end, we have the meeting called as sprint retrospect meeting or sprint closure meeting or post-mortem meeting, where we will discuss what is right, what is wrong, and followed by any improvement if required. This is software testing life cycle or testing process. And this question is 100% asked. What is the testing process in your company? Whenever any manual interview is happening, what is the testing process or what is software test life cycle? I have to tell these things. Are you clear with software testing life cycle? Yes or no? Any doubts, guys?
No.
Very good. So this completes your software testing life cycle. Okay. After this, guys, we can learn one document called as what? Test plan document, so that we get some understanding of what is a test plan. Actually, test plan is prepared by the test lead or a test manager. Okay. And it is a dynamic document that derives entire testing activities. Okay. So we'll discuss on the test plan little bit, guys, so that although it's prepared by only the test leads and their test plan, but we should know the content of a test plan and what is a test plan. Test plan is written in MS Word document, guys. So first of all, what is a test plan? The test plan is a dynamic document that derives entire testing activities. It is prepared by whom? It's prepared by the test lead or test manager. When it is prepared in the beginning as soon as we get the requirement. If you remember VNB model, I used to tell you that, if you know VNB model, then as soon as the requirements are converted, the test plan document is prepared. So it is prepared in the beginning as soon as we get the requirement. Test plan is prepared to maintain the uniformity. So what are the attributes of a test case? So this is the trick to remember. OSA was a tree, and that was very sad. So this is how I remember. You can also remember like this. O for objective. This is the attributes of a test plan. Sometimes it is asked, what are the contents of a test plan? What are the contents of a test case? What are the contents of a test scenario? This is nothing but a content of a test plan, that is objective. Aim of writing the test plan. So this test plan is written to test the functionality of ICIC project version 1.0. Next is, guys, scope. Now scope is divided into two: in scope and out of the scope. In scope means features which needs to be tested. Suppose these are the features we are going to test. Out of scope, that features which not to be tested. These are the features we are not going to test, like chat functionality, automation testing, performance testing. These are nothing but out of out of scope. Okay. Okay. Now next is approach. Approach is the flow of the testing. Suppose from the login page we went to Yahoo, then movies, then mail, then sports. So this is the particular flow of the application. Suppose I go to a Facebook application, I go to login page, then I go to home page, then I click on timeline, then I want to add a friend, then I go to that friend's profile, then click on add as a friend. And then if the friend confirms that particular friend is added in my list, that is nothing but the approach, the flow of the testing. Test methodology is the type of testing which will be performed. Suppose start with the smoke testing, then do functional integration system user acceptance testing. Next is the test environment. Test environment means the test engineer machine configuration. So what is the software configuration? What is the operating system? What is the browser? What is the hardware configuration, hard disk, and everything. Some of the templates, guys, which are the templates used, suppose test case scenario template, test case template, test case review template, test execution report template, RTM template. Next is roles and responsibilities. So first comes the roles and responsibilities of a test engineer. So what is the roles and responsibility of a manual test engineer? First is what? Requirement review and understanding. Then is what? Prepare test scenarios, prepare test cases, prepare RTM, prepare test execution, perform test execution, defect tracking and logging. So what is the roles and responsibilities of a test lead? So prepare and review the test plan, approve the test cases, assign tasks to the test engineer, defect review, handling escalations, taking daily stand-up meeting. These are the roles and responsibilities of a test lead. Next is roles and responsibilities of a test manager. What are that? Preparing, reviewing test plan, handling escalation, meeting development and testing team, taking a monthly review meeting. These are the roles and responsibilities of a test manager. This is very important, entry and exit criteria. Entry criteria means when to start the testing activities. Exit criteria means when to stop the testing activities. Suppose entry criteria for functional testing. What is the entry criteria? First is coding and white box testing should be completed. Application should be ready, environment should be ready, and resources should be ready. EAR should be ready. E for environment, A for application, R for resource. And one is what? Coding and white box testing should be completed. This is entry criteria for functional testing. What is entry criteria for integration testing? Functional testing should be completed. Application should be ready, environment should be ready, and resources should be ready. What is entry criteria for system testing? Functional testing and integration testing should be completed. Application should be ready, environment should be ready, and resources should be ready. Next is exit criteria for functional testing. So what are the exit criteria? So with respect to bug, there should be no blocker or critical bug. 3 to 5 major bugs can be there, and 10 to 15 minor bugs can be there. This is the exit criteria for functional testing. What is the exit criteria for integration testing? That is based on the bugs. There should be no blocker, critical, or major bug. There can be 10 to 15 minor bugs. So this is exit criteria for integration testing. What is exit criteria for system testing? There should be no blocker, critical, major bug, and there can be 1 or 2 minor bug. Then that should be told to the project manager, or there should not be any blocker, critical, major, or minor bug, and then only it will be released to the UAT. So this is what the exit criteria for system testing. Next is the schedules. Schedules means what, guys? Suppose the requirement understanding will take how much time? The test case writing is started in suppose 11th of February. Then it will take 1 month to write the test cases. Okay, 1 month, and then after the test cases to execute that particular test cases, it will take 3 months. So my project is started from 11th Feb. It will end in May 11. This is nothing but your schedule. What time will take from understanding the requirement to writing the test cases to doing the test execution and finally releasing it. Releasing means what? Giving it to the customer, the end product. That is nothing but your release. So generally schedules is done based on the number of resources and work. Okay. So suppose test engineer 160 hours to write the test cases and execute for one module. Suppose in a week, how many working days are there? There are 5 working days. Okay. So in 5 working days, how many hours we work? We work what? Suppose 8 hours. So total hours is 40. So in a month, 40 into 4. So that means total hour is nothing but your 160 hours. So test engineer, if there's only one test engineer, it will take 160 hours to write the test cases and execute the test cases for one module. Okay, this is the time taken for one test engineer. Now, if there are 4 test engineer guys, what will happen? 160 by 4. That means 40 hours to write and execute the test cases for one module. That means in 1 week, we can release the application. So based on the number of resources and time, we decide what? The schedule. Next is the automation. Automation means what, guys? Automation tool. If any automation tools are used, then we will write it here. Suppose we use Selenium WebDriver and the language used is Java. Okay. And test management tool, or suppose application lifecycle management or quality center we are using. Next is the regression test case used for the automation. Defect tracking, guys, defect tracking and logging is done using defect report, which is an Excel sheet. Okay, deliverables, these are the list of documents handed to the customer at the time of release. So which are the documents we'll hand it to the customers? Test cases, RTM, test execution report, user manual for software development, software URL via which they can access the application, release notes. And in this release note, this is again an MS Word document. In the release notes, it is mentioned which are the known and the fixed bugs, if any exist. Which are the known bugs, if any exist, or if any bugs are fixed in the second release, those things are mentioned. So if the software is sent for the second release, then which bugs were fixed from the previous release? These are the documents that is called as deliverable. List of document that is sent to the customer at the time of release. These 3 are important. There is not last, but just assumption, risk, mitigation or backup or contingency plan. So assumption is if any test engineer leaves the job. Risk is quality of the product will be low. Mitigation or contingency plan is another test engineer is partially working on that project. When test engineer 1 has left the job, test engineer 2 can completely work on the place of test engineer 1's position. Okay. So this is just a backup plan. It does not provide 100% solution to the assumed risk. So this is the contents of a test plan. They will ask you out what is a test plan. And what you have to tell is it is a dynamic document that derives entire testing activities. Now, who prepares the test plan? First question will be, what is a test plan? Next question will be, who prepares the test plan? So who prepares the test plan? What is the answer? What is the answer, guys?
Test lead.
Yeah, it's prepared by the test lead or test manager. Okay. Next is what, guys? Okay, what are the attributes of a test? No, when is the test plan prepared? When is the test plan prepared? What is the answer for this?
As soon as we get the requirement.
Requirement, the test lead or manager will prepare the test plan. Next and the last question is really what? What are the attributes of test plan? So you have to remember all the attributes, okay? Attributes of a test plan. So what you can tell is, you have to just remember this thing, okay? O for objective, S for scope, A for approach, okay? OSA was a tree, okay? Then don't tell anything from WASA, just go for T. T for test methodology. Now test methodology is what, guys? The type of testing performed, then test environment, then templates, Then R for roles and responsibilities, E for effort estimation, E for entry and exit criteria, S for schedules, A for automation, T for defect tracking, D for deliverables, and in the end you have to tell assumption, risk mitigation or backup plan. This you have to remember. O for objective, S for scope, A for approach, T for test methodology, T for test environment, T for templates, R for roles and responsibilities, E for effort estimation, E for entry and exit criteria, S for schedules, A for automation, D for deliverables, D for defect tracking, and then assumption, risk mitigation or backup plan. The details of these attributes are written here. You can just go through this. This completes your test plan. This completes your testing life cycle. And then guys, I just want to discuss one more topic today itself. Is nothing but your quality center. If possible, we can discuss this today. And if not, we'll discuss it tomorrow. Let us just see if it is possible. We can discuss this one. So this is called as, guys, I don't know how many of you know this test plan, how many of you have heard about this test plan and all. If you have heard or not. So test plan is nothing but, guys, it's a very frequently used test management tool. Have you ever heard about STLC, guys? STLC, I'm telling you. Have you ever heard about quality center? Yes or no? Mahesh, have you ever heard about QC, quality center? No. So this is very, very unique, guys, test management tool, okay, which was given by the vendor called as HP. I don't know. Have you heard about the company name HP?
Yes, yes.
So this is what, guys, is the tool. So the manual test cases and all where we are writing. Where we are writing, guys? We are writing in Excel sheet or Word document. So this is nothing but your quality center or ALM. ALM is the latest version, guys. It is called as what? Application Lifecycle Management. Okay. So you have to understand that what are the questions and how QC questions are asked. Okay. So guys, this QC is also called as quality center. It's the latest, see, for QC 9.0 version. Then first it was 9.0 version. From 10.0 version, its name changed to ALM. So ALM and QC is the same thing. And the vendor is what? Vendor is HP. And what is actually QC, guys? So it is a test management tool. It is what? A test management tool. Here we will do the entire testing activities. Entire testing activities means what, guys? As a test engineer, first we'll get the requirement. Then what we will do? We'll write something called as what? Test cases, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. After test execution, test cases will prepare a document. It will go to what? Test case review process. Yes or no, guys?
Yes.
Then we will do a prepare a document called as RTM. Then we will do something called as what? Test execution. Yes or no, guys?
Yes.
Then we will do something called as defect tracking or logging. Defect tracking and logging. So these are the things instead of doing using, suppose a requirement will be written in Word document, test cases Excel sheet, test case review Excel sheet, RTM Excel sheet, test execution Excel sheet, defect tracking and logging in Excel sheet, defect report and all. So we use a tool. Some of the company uses the tool for doing all these things. So this tool is nothing but your quality center. They'll give you a particular URL. You'll click on, give the enter name, username and password. And it has majorly 4 components. Okay. One is the requirement section. So requirements in a company is written by the business analyst. Test engineer never writes a requirement, neither brings a requirement. Okay. So requirements is brought by whom? By the particular business analyst. Okay. Now the requirements are written in the QC by the business analyst, and then here there are 4 modules, guys: requirement, test plan, test lab, and defect. So this test plan is not the test plan what the test lead or manager will prepare. That is separate. Here it is a module whose name is what? First module name is requirement, where all the requirements are written. Next is test plan. In this module, we will write the test cases. In this module, what we'll write down? We'll write the test cases. And then also in this module only, we will prepare the RTM. What is RTM? Requirement Traceability Matrix, so that all the requirements and test cases are mapped against each other. So in this module only, we'll prepare what? RTM. Okay. And next is, guys, is the third module is nothing but your test lab. So what will happen in test lab? We will do the test execution. Suppose in test plan, we have written the test cases. So what we will do, we'll execute the test cases in which module? Test lab module. And the last module is nothing but what, guys? Is the defect module. So in the defect module, what we will do, guys? We are going to log the defect. So these are 4 modules. You have to remember the name. First is the requirement module. Then is the test plan module, where we will write the test case and prepare the RTM. Next is the test lab module, where we are going to execute the test cases. And next is the defect module, where we will what, guys? Log and track the defects. Okay. So let us understand, guys, how to write the test cases in our test plan. So how to prepare test cases in QC. So first of all, the steps I have written is click on test plan module, click on new folder, enter folder name. Folder name is suppose functional test case, and click on new test, enter the detail of the test case. Detail of the test case, I already told you, header, body, footer section. And then what will happen, guys, is then we'll see in the more detail in the diagram. And now how to prepare RTM in QC. What will happen? We'll select the test case and add requirement to requirement coverage. Click on OK button. Okay. And then what will happen is status of the test case will be changed from no run. No run means the test cases are written and RTM is not prepared. Okay. So now it will be changed from no run to run status. That means the requirement and test cases are mapped, and requirement and test cases are mapped. RTM is prepared. So this is no run. Requirements are not mapped to the test case. Run status means what? Requirements are mapped to the test cases. Next is, guys, is next is the test lab. How to execute the test case. So how to execute the test case is, first we have to import the test cases in the test plan module to the test lab module, and then click on run button. And after clicking on run button, we'll write the actual result and status and click on save button. Next is the defect section, guys. Defect section, what happens is, first we'll click on the defect section and then click on create defect. Then we'll enter the details of the defect. Details of the defect is what, guys? Like the severity, priority, attachment and all. And then click on submit button. Defect ID will get automatically generated. This is called as what, guys? A particular QC modules. Okay. Okay. Now, let us understand in more detail. Let us go to this PPT so that we'll understand. So QC, who is the vendor? HP is the vendor. Yes or no?
Yes.
So what I told, which are the modules we have to focus? Requirement, test plan, test lab, and defects. Okay. Now let us just see requirement module. Okay. So this is how you will, when you will log in into the application. Okay. This is how it will look. Okay. QC. So in QC, there is what? Requirement, test plan, test lab, and defect. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. So in the requirement, what you have to click is that you have to click on new requirement. Okay. And after clicking on new requirement, you'll give the name of the requirement, suppose login page, and click on OK button. Requirement will be created. Suppose authentication. So requirement is but created. Next. Now, suppose click on new requirement, give the name of the requirement. Suppose Helix is the name of the requirement, it has been given. And if I want to create a child requirement means requirement is sub requirement. Suppose login is a main requirement and username and password and OK and cancel button is child requirement. So suppose to create a new child requirement, just click on new child requirement and then enter the details of this new child requirement and click on OK button. Requirement will be created. So first requirement was helix and its child requirement is hex folks. So this is what how to create requirement or not a new requirement, child requirement. Very, very easy. Log in into the application with this URL. Click on new requirement, give the name of the requirement, click on OK. Requirement created. Next, select that particular helix requirement, click on new child requirement. Give the name of the requirement, hexfox, new child requirement is created. Finished. Now, guys, how to prepare a test case? Okay, this is very, very important. So what I will do is, first I'll click on test plan. Then I click on new folder. And then I'll enter the folder name. Suppose the folder name I'm entering is what? Helix, that particular requirement name I have given. Okay, fine. Click on OK. Now, what will happen is this helix folder is created. Now I have to create a test case. So I'll click on what? Click new test. I'll click on click new test. So after that, guys, we'll click on new test and then you have to select the test type. That is nothing but your manual. And you can enter the test case name. Suppose ICICI project version 1.0, click on OK. And you can just select it. Okay. Suppose test case name is hexfox is written. This is fine. Test case is written. Okay. Next, guys, is now test case is made. Now I have to write the test case header and footer section. So in the details section, guys, here details section, we write the header and footer of the test case. And in the design section, guys, we will actually write the body of the test case, which consists of step name, description, and expected result. Step name or number, suppose 1. Description, suppose enter URL in the browser. Expected result is what? Login page should be displayed. Then click on new step. Enter valid username and password. Click on OK button. Expected result is home page should be displayed. So this is nothing but the actual body of this test case. In the details section, directly we'll write the header and footer. After this, guys, after this, in the design section, I told you this is the step name, description, and expected result. Click on OK button. This is fine. This is how the test cases will look. Okay. Step number 1, open the URL. Home page, will click, check whether there is a web app tab. The web tab should be displayed like that. We'll write the description and the expected result. This is fine. And guys, after writing the test case, if you want to review the test case, no, here is not mentioned this step. Just right click here, okay, and you will get an option. Send it to the another test engineer. Okay. So what will happen is you can just directly send the test case for the review of the test case, and the test engineer, another test engineer, if he wants, he can mention some comments and send it back to the original test engineer, and that is how the review process works. And after that, guys, how to prepare the test plan here, RTM. So what is the thing is we are in the test plan only. Click on requirement coverage, and what will happen is all the requirements will be displayed on the right hand side. We'll select that requirement and click on add test to test coverage, and RTM will be prepared. That's all. In the test plan module, we'll click on requirement coverage. What will happen? All the requirements, all the requirements will be displayed here. See, requirement coverage, select the requirement. Now what will happen? All the requirements are displayed here. Now select that particular requirement. Now we'll select this particular requirement and click on this button. This arrow button is called as add requirement to the coverage. Okay. Yeah, this is the add coverage link. Okay, click on this add requirement, add coverage link. Okay, this arrow button, click on there. And requirement is linked to the test cases. That's all. Just click on what? Requirement coverage. Select requirement, select the requirement. Click on this left arrow button called as the add coverage button, and these requirements are mapped to the test cases. That's all, guys, is the way to prepare the RTM. Always remember, RTM is prepared in the test plan module. How to prepare? Click on requirement coverage, click on select requirement, select the requirement, please add a requirement to the coverage. That's all. You know this much, that's enough. Now, how to execute the test cases is, first we'll have to go to test lab module and then click on new folder, and we can give the folder name, whatever name we want. Okay, Helix only I have given. And now guys, after that, after giving the name of that particular folder, okay, in the test lab module, what I have to do is I have to copy the test cases from where? From the test plan module to the test lab module. So what I have to do is, I'll show you. Yes, guys. So I am in the test lab module. Wait. Yes. Let me just come here. Yes. So in the test lab module, I've clicked on new folder and I've given the name of the particular test lab. Click on new test and click on select test. And after selecting test, all the test cases from the test plan module will be shown. And we'll select the requirement and click on this left arrow button. And then we are ready for the execution. Let me just explain you test lab once again. It's very, very easy. Nothing. In test lab module, click on new folder, give the folder name. We have given the folder name. Let us just see what is the folder name. Helix. This is fine. Now I am clicking on what? I have created the folder. If they want, they can create this subfolder. Okay, this is fine. Now click on new test set. Okay, this is the new test set in the test lab. Click on new test set, enter the test set name. Suppose the test set folder name I'm giving, test set name I'm giving is first. Give that name. Then click on, then select that particular test set and click on select test. This is very important. As soon as I'll create the select test, all the test cases from where, which module? Test cases are written in which module? Test plan module will be shown here. Yes or no? Are you there, guys?
Yes, Vikram.
So select test, after clicking select test, what will happen? The test cases are written in which module? Test plan module will be shown here. Yes or no? Yes. So what will happen? We'll click on select test. What will happen? All the test cases from which module? Test plan module is shown here. Yes or no, guys? Yes. Select the particular test case. Okay. And click on this left arrow button. Now what will happen? We are copying the test case from test plan to test lab. This is called an instance of a test case. Instance means a copy. Okay. So what will happen? We'll copy the test cases from test plan to test lab. How to copy? Just click on new folder, new test, give the name and all. Click on select test and select the particular test. Click on this left arrow button. Now this test case is ready for the execution. How? If I click on this left arrow button, this test case will come here. Let me just show you. Yes, this test case has come here. Yes. After clicking on the left arrow button, what happened, guys? This test has come and the status is no run. No run means what? The requirement and test cases are mapped against each other but are not executed. To execute it, what will happen is we'll click on the. Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, no.
No, to execute it, we'll click on the run button, then enter the actual result and status and click on save button and test case will be executed. That's all. So execute it. First we'll click on which button? Tell me everyone. First we'll click on which button? Run button. Then what will happen? We'll enter what? Click on begin run. After clicking on begin run, we'll have to enter what? The actual result. Here suppose home page should be displayed. So what will write? Home page is displayed and then click on this end run button. Okay, click on this end run button, change the status of this steps as passed. So after that, let us just see. We are changing the status as passed and clicking on this end run button. So after that, what will happen, guys? Entire test case will be executed. Last is how to raise a defect. Click on defect module. Then what will happen? And then click on defect module to log a defect. Let me just show you how to log a defect. Once again, guys, let me just show you how to log a defect. Yeah. So to log a defect, what we have to do is, guys, we have to click on defect module, click on new defect. And after clicking on new defect, you'll get these things. That means what? You have to give the summary of the defect. Suppose login functionality is not working. Severity is medium. Severity will be blocker here because login functionality itself is not working. Then assign to the developer, priority will be high and reproducible, yes. And then the description of the defect. And then after giving all these things, if you want, we can give attachment and click on which button? Click on the submit button. Are you able to see the submit button? Yes. Are you able to see the submit button? Yes or no, guys?
Yes, Vikram.
Then defect ID will get automatically generated. This is how we are working in the QC tool. Always remember, in requirements are written, test plan, test cases are written, test lab, a test execution is done, defect module will log the defect. Question, how to log a defect in QC? What will tell? Any bug tracking tool, just this is the same thing. Go to defect module, click on create defect, enter the details of the defect like summary, severity, priority, attachment, click on submit button. What will happen? One defect ID will get automatically generated. Next question, is the defect ID getting automatically generated in a defect management tool like Quality Center, Jira, or you have to give the defect ID? Answer, defect ID gets automatically generated. We don't give any defect ID. We just give the details of the defect, click on submit button, defect ID gets generated. Finished. Next question, have you ever used any test management tool in your project? Yes, we have used a test management tool, ALM. Okay, which are the modules in ALM? ALM modules are requirement, to where the requirements are written, test plan, where the test cases are written, RTM is prepared, test lab, where the test execution is done, defect, where the defects are logged. Okay, how we log the test, how we write the test cases in test plan? So you will tell in the first, we'll click on test plan module, click on new folder, enter the folder name, whatever project name is there, then click on new test. And then in new test, there will be two sections. One is the detail and one is the design step. Design detail section, we'll write the header and footer of the test case. Design step, we will write the step number, action description, expected result. Okay, fine. Okay, how the RTM is prepared in test plan? So once the test cases are written in test plan, what will happen is we'll select that test case and click on requirement coverage. Click on select requirement. All the requirements will be displayed. Select that requirement and click on add coverage button. So what will happen after clicking on add coverage button? The requirement and test cases will be mapped and the status will be no run. Fine. Next question, how to execute the test cases? Click on test lab module, then click on new folder, give the folder name, click on new test, give the test execution name. Okay, then what will happen? Click on select test, we select the test cases from the test plan module, click on left arrow button. Then what will happen? There will be a button called as run. Then we have to click a button called as start run. Then we have to enter the actual result status and click on end run button. This is how we execute a test case in test lab module. And then how to log a defect? I told you, go to defect module, click on create defect, enter the details of the defect, click on submit button. Defect ID gets automatically generated. Yes or no, guys? Did you got some clarity? Yes or no?
Yes.
Mahesh, are you getting the clarity?
Yes, yes.
How to write a test case? What will be your answer in test? If suppose someone asks you, okay, you tell me how to write a test case in Quality Center. So what will you tell? First, you will click on which module?
Plan.
First, you will click on test plan module. Then you will, what you will do? Can you just tell me?
Yes,
Click
yes.
on new folder, yes or no?
Yes.
Give the folder name, then click on what? New test. Yes or no, guys?
Yes.
Then give the test case name. Yes or no? Yes. Then after that, what we'll do? We'll write the actual test case where in the design steps or not? Yes or no, guys? Yes. So in the click on design step, what will happen after clicking on design steps? This particular pop-up will open where step number or name is getting automatically generated, or we can write also. We'll write the description of the test case and expected result and click on OK button. Till here, are you clear? Tell me yes or no. Mahesh?
Yes, yes, Vikram.
You understood? Nothing. Just click on test plan module, click on new folder, click on new test, give their names respectively. And in the design step, what will happen? This particular pop-up will open where we will write design description and expected result and click on OK button. That's all. Test case is written. Now the thing is that how to prepare RTM. What is the step, Mahesh? Do you remember anything? First we'll click on what?
Requirement coverage.
Requirement coverage. Then we'll click on what?
And
Select requirement. Then what will happen? All the requirements will be shown here or not? Yes or no? Yes. Then what will happen? We'll select the requirement and click on left arrow button. That's all. What we'll do? First click on requirement coverage. Then click on which button? Mahesh, can you just tell me which button we have to click?
select requirement.
Select requirement. Then what will happen? All the requirements are shown here or not? Yes or no?
Yes.
Then select the requirement and click on which button? This coverage button or left arrow button? Yes or no? Select this particular requirement and click on which button?
Left arrow.
Left arrow button is also called as what? Coverage link button. Okay. And this is what the test RTM is prepared. Did you understood how to write test case and how to prepare RTM? Yes or no?
Yes.
Now how to execute? Where we will execute the test case? First, can you just tell me? Where we will execute the test case? In which module?
Lab.
Test lab. How to execute? Click on new folder, get the folder name. Click on new test, give the test name. Okay, these two steps are very easy. First click on new folder, enter the folder name. Okay, and then guys, folder is created. Then click on new test. Okay, and then give the test name. Okay, fine. Give the test name. Okay, this is fine. This is fine, guys. Next. After that, we have to click on with that thing. We have to click on select test and all the test cases will be displayed. Click on left arrow button. And then what will happen, guys? Test cases will come here. Yes or no, guys? In the test lab. From where? From test plan. This copying of test case from test plan to test lab is called as instance of a test case. Okay? Yes. So what we have to do, guys, is we'll just click on we have created a folder, created a test. We'll click on select test. Then what will happen is all the test cases will be displayed on the right hand side. What will happen is we'll select the test case and click on which button, guys? Left arrow button, that is add the test. Then what we'll do? Do you remember, Mahesh? First we'll click on which button? Run. Then we'll click on which button? Begin run. Yes or no? Where is that begin run? Yes. We'll click on begin run button. Then we'll click on, we'll enter what here? Actual result and what? Status, and click on which button? End run button. Can you see this red button?
Yes.
This is called as what? End run button. And this test execution is completed here. Next is how to log a defect. Can you just tell me how to log a defect? Mahesh, how to log a defect?
Create a defect.
Okay. Click on new defect then.
Then we have the pop-up will open.
Yes,
There we can
here we
give
have
on
to
the
enter the details of the defect like severity,
Yes,
priority, assigned to, all these things, and
Summary.
click on which button?
Submit.
What will happen?
If you have any attachments, you have also given any attachments.
Defect ID will get automatically
Generated.
generated. That's all, guys, for today. We learned quality center, we learned STLC, we learned test plan. That's all for today. Let me just stop the recording.